So this week we're doing The Little Mermaid. We got into the cynical take on giving up your voice to be there for a man. We got into being a girl dad. We got into romance in kid stories and how sweetly that's portrayed in this film.
Yeah.
What else am I missing?
Just wondered where it went. So buckle up, join us.
Yep. Enjoy.
Here we go.
Listen. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, you
it's
too,
good
bud.
to be back. It's been a little bit since we recorded one of these.
Yeah, you can tell by how much longer my hair got in between.
I know mine's getting a little shaggy.
That's right. I'm going full hippie. How about you?
No, I'm not going full hippie. Definitely not.
Today we are getting into the movie that put Disney on the trajectory that you could say they're still kind of riding. I think the momentum that they created and just, hit after hit after hit started here, I think. And it was The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Not the recent remake.
No,
that's a
not.
different trajectory that they're on, but the original animated film.
Do you think you said that it started the like it kicked off the golden age in like the 90s? Because this movie came out in 89. Was that the first one of that
like
slate?
It did. Yeah, I feel like this is the one that, because prior to this, they were doing, you had somebody, The Fox and the Hound, and you had, did Oliver and Company. And look, those movies are great. I personally love Oliver and Company. I might be one of the only people who really, really loves it. But that they weren't killing it. And they were one of the animation studios out there.
I see.
And you had Don Bluth that was doing stuff like American Tail was really popular, and All Dogs Go to Heaven and stuff like that. Where like there were competitors. Yeah. And then The Little Mermaid came out, and and then you just had these hit after hit after hit.
Yeah.
Disney kind of became like, well, there's Disney,
right? And
then there's everyone else making
that put them on the elite of the elite tier, and everyone else was just trying to fight for second place.
Now that's how it felt to me. Like growing up. That it was like when you saw an animated feature film, people would just assume, especially if they weren't familiar with the business,
right?
They just assumed it was Disney.
Yeah. If there's a really good, it'd be very common that, your Don Bluth movies, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Secret of Nim, all that stuff. Like you kind of assume Disney. You got talking animals and very good animation. Oh, it's a Disney movie. But then you look back, it's like, no. And the idea that all those studios were kind of still seen as equals is interesting looking back, whereas for so long we just thought of Disney as king. Yeah.
And so it took a while for some competitors to come up. But when Little Mermaid came out, and it was like, maybe it was because I was the age, I was 9 when it came out.
Okay.
But it seemed to just be insanely dominant. Everybody, all the kids were singing the song. Maybe it's still like that every time a Disney film comes out, all the kids are like in lockstep and adoring it. But like this was huge. And I remember like grown-ups were watching it, and it just, my memory is of being a 9-year-old, so it's highly questionable. But all that is to say, you can definitely see fiscally it shot Disney as an animation studio up to the top, and they have never come back.
Well, and I think of all the like big storybook Disney attractions at like Disneyland, like Little Mermaid is cemented in as one of those. You have some like the old stuff that's there if you go to like Disneyland parks, but this wave of everything that kicked off is like you're gonna see that IP around forever because it's not going anywhere. Whereas there were like Fox and the Hound, good movie. There's not a trace of it at any of the Disney parks. It doesn't have that.
There's no merch. There's
They're not selling.
So it came out. It's an adaptation from Hans Christian Andersen, like some of the other Disney films. So notably like Cinderella, and we talk a little bit in Cinderella how it differs, how the original version.
Cinderella was Grimm's.
Oh, that was Grimm. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It was Frozen is Hans Christian Andersen.
Frozen's Hans Christian Andersen.
And it also wildly departs. Now, this film, interestingly, does not depart all that much. Like, there's a couple of things where it really departs, but the original princess, the original mermaid, is one of all of these daughters. She's the youngest of all these daughters. She does collect knickknacks at the bottom of the sea. She does have this obsession with the surface world.
Yeah.
Interestingly, there's like this kind of almost like in the Amish go on their like they get to go, I forget what it's called. They go on like a little odyssey into the world and then come back having seen, you know, that it's fruitless and all that. And so the older sisters go and do that in the book. Like you hit a certain birthday and it's like, okay, go to the service world, get it out of your system. They all come back and they're like, it sucks up there. And and so they all kind of give up their obsession.
Interesting.
But she goes up there, sees the birthday party for this prince.
Yeah.
And falls in love. And just like in that movie, really. And saves his life and all that. And so there's all those plot points go forward that way. But it differs in that the process of turning into a human is like excruciatingly painful.
And
that she feels the pain like an amputee of having her tail severed every day that she's alive. Like she has this constant agony, and she gives up her voice, and in this, it's like her tongue is like cut off. Of course,
Disney changed that one, right?
Yeah, they changed that one, and back then that would have been something common that children, like, you just lived with that as a potential punishment for crime, you know. And so her tongue's removed, but she's this amazing dancer. So I'm sure we could probably do an episode on the symbolism of all of that.
Yeah.
But that's not in this version.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the prince winds up falling in love with someone else and actually marrying someone else. So the mermaid's going to die of this curse. The exchange that she made with the sea witch.
Is it a tragic story?
It's a tragic story. She is going to die on the day after the prince marries someone else. Oh, and here's the other catch. Mermaids don't have souls in this version. So part of what she wants out of this whole deal is to be human so that she'll have an immortal soul. Because what mermaids have is, like, they live for 300 years and then when they die, they turn into sea foam and they just become nothing.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like they live in the reality that atheists like choose to live in. Or believe that we all live in. You just die and become sea foam. She's like, no, I want to be one of these creatures with a soul, in addition to being in love with the prince. And so the means of getting the soul is marriage. Yeah. Because, you know, in the Christian idea of marriage, originally the Hebrew idea of marriage is these two become one. So if she could marry the prince, then she acquires part of his soul in there coming together. So then she will have her own soul and live for it.
Yeah.
So she doesn't get it. I think the sea witch comes up with a deal and is like, hey, I'll give you this knife. You go and murder the prince in his sleep before sunrise. Put the blood on your feet. You'll regrow your tail. You can come join the mermaids again and like live out the rest of your mermaid life. So she takes the knife and she goes in, and he's, you know, in bed with the woman that he married instead of her. She's like, I can't do it. And so she casts herself off the ship, and then on her way down, she dissolves and becomes this air spirit where she gets to like kind of have an incarnation that way and go do good deeds and stuff like that. So,
wild.
You can see why they adapted it.
It's not exactly the happy ending. It's not
a happy ending, but it's like a tragedy with a way out, kind of. Like, it's not Hamlet,
but it's still a tragedy. Yeah. I mean, it's a tragedy. You didn't get the guy at the end, and you had to, you know, the foolish.
But what she does get is the soul. Like, she becomes sort of this beneficent spirit. And like something not quite human, but not quite mermaid, and like something semi-angelic. And so which is interesting. It's like, and you're going to talk about this a little bit later. Like, oh, you're doing all this just to get a man, and it's like, well, no, she found like.
Yeah, well, that kind of dovetails into that conversation, because I feel like a big criticism that comes of this is she gives up her voice to go on this adventure, and the criticism people often have is it sends the message to little girls that you give up your voice to chase the boy. You have to be some voiceless, stupid girl in order for the prince to like you, and in that you'll find your worth.
So how does that argument truck with the fact that she does actually get her voice back?
That she had to woo him without her voice. She has to.
But she only gains a voice in the trying to steal man. Or maybe just,
and now, I mean, look, she does give up her voice, and it is the part of her going on the adventure. Yeah, but if I'm trying to steelman it, which I don't agree with that criticism.
I think it's a really cynical analysis.
I think it's cynical. I think it's shallow, but but she does give up her voice, and she gets the man in the end as the result. And if you came at the story with just those facts and wanted to like write that narrative, like it's in there, like those things do happen. I think it misses a lot of what's actually playing out.
Yeah. So and so I even trying to steelman it, I feel like I can't get past sort of a very cynical, like you must stop the analysis there with what might be my own experience of, if I'm a woman who felt like I gave up my power, right?
Yeah.
Because in the postmodern feminist dynamic, it's the Marxist like play of the haves and have-nots and the power. And so you go, I gave up power of my voice to, supplant, to be subservient to this male figure. And he's part of the patriarchy, he's part of the royal line, he's the authority. And then once I get in there, once I'm inseminated by the patriarchy, then I get my voice back, but it's now permanently subjugated to this husband figure.
But now that I've appropriately subjugated myself, now I can kind of have something like a voice. And but it's the take. What I notice about that take is I hear it from adults who are being critical of it, looking back on this story from my childhood. Where I don't hear it is from kids and little girls watching that. Yeah, I'll hear it from like some adults and teachers who are like, we don't love Little Mermaid anymore because there's this, and we've grown beyond that, and we're more enlightened than that. But I hear from so many. My wife was telling me like this was her favorite movie growing up,
right?
And
because she gives up her voice to escape the patriarchy. Like the most oppressive patriarchy in the whole movie is clearly her father, Triton.
Yeah.
And it's in this exchange with the sea witch and like the pagan, empowered, feminine, body positive. Creature in the dark. Like that is your postmodern hero. Like that's the Wiccan like idea of feminist empowerment, right? So she gives her voice up to her, not to the man.
She gives up her voice because she's manipulated and tricked by the witch, by the voice of darkness that like manipulates her into putting a lot at risk, and then so she's going to make the move, and then she has to outsmart the witch later. But what's interesting, but it does work out for her in the end, because for her to go from naive 16-year-old girl talking about this world she wants to be part of to be thrust into that where she loses her legs, she loses her voice, which is her she's known as the best singer. She's known as the most beautiful person. One of the most attractive things about her, she has to find something beyond that to be able to attract this guy. And there's even like a kind of an initiation into like womanhood and sexuality that Ursula kind of puts her through. Like, no, you're going to have to find your bad girl side on this and not just be this like naive girl under dad's rule in order to go out and have this adventure. And yes, with that comes a lot of peril, a lot of danger. Yeah. And that's what she has to go navigate in that world.
Yeah. Yeah, and so the postmodern, cynical, critical approach to it falls apart really quickly under any kind of scrutiny. But we find the thing that has a little bit more depth and a little bit more like fractal truth as you examine it is like the reason it's her voice is because she's introduced to us as the most beautiful singer.
Right.
And, and so if she was the best artist or whatever, it would have been her fingers, or if she was the prettiest, it would have been her face. Right. So she has to go and offer to this, it's a Faustian deal where you go and you, and this is riddled all through Western canon is you meet the devil. He wants to make a deal. And in this case, the devil is Ursula. And so it's just like going to the crossroads to play the fiddle with the devil, you can sign a contract. And so she says, well, you sang to the prince. That's how he knows who you are. You have the most beautiful voice. I'm going to take your voice, not because I'm trying to disempower your feminine mystique or whatever. It's like, I'm taking your voice because it's your most precious identifying feature.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to hamstring you as much as I can in your endeavor because I want your soul, because I'm trying to get your dad.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that, again, looking at like the fractal truth, where else that shows up in canon is the same way the devil wants to hamper us to get to our dad. Devil doesn't care about hampering, the individual saint.
You're a tool for his plans. He's not.
Your pain and misery is nothing more than a tool or a stepping stone on the way to injuring the father. So now Triton is fallible at this, so he's not, an infallible, heavenly father. He's as broken as you or I as fathers.
Sure. Yeah. He's got his tyrannical side, and he wants to keep his daughter locked up and never go have her adventure. What I think is interesting, because it's not exactly a story of like, she has to learn to listen to her dad because he knows best. It's she does need to go see the Sea Witch. She does need to go have this adventure and go through this transformation and risk all the things that her dad wants to protect her from. And then at the end, her Triton ends up coming around and attends her wedding and is happy for her throughout that. He goes through a transformation too.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly like meet the devil at the crossroads. It's just like, all right. It's a true coming of age story.
Yeah, and there's so many characters that have arcs in this, which is part of why it's such a great and enduring film.
Yeah.
And so Triton has an arc. He's the controlling dad. He is the ossified patriarchal figure.
Yeah.
He's rigid in his control. He doesn't listen to her.
Yeah.
And she is transforming. And so there is this, the symbolism in Ariel is ceasing to become a girl. The whole movie starts with the concert. It's like her rite of passage.
It's she is becoming adolescence.
Yeah. And Triton is keeping her back. And so this, we have a physical transformation, which just also happens to give her human sexual organs, right? Like, you maybe don't notice it when you're 9 watching it. When you're older watching it, you're like, oh, that little magical swirl is very conveniently placed.
Sure.
When she turns into a woman with legs, to keep the audience in the dark about, everything that's going on here with this. Like, Ursula essentially gives her a vulva,
Well, it's I mean, somebody in Poor Unfortunate Souls, that song, like, it's so overtly sexual. Like, it's there's a like, you're getting initiated into this, and she's kind of got this wide-eyed, like, what the hell is this world I'm about to kind
we're
of
not really sure she knew that's what she was asking for.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you're going from girl crush to like, well, now you're becoming a woman, your crushes are different.
Yep.
And like, there's going to be a resolution to this crush.
Yeah. There's also something interesting in about Ursula and Poor Unfortunate Souls, where she says a bunch of times in that song, like, I help the people that are hurting. I mean, her whole thing is like, people are desperate, people are struggling. Under the lens of compassion, I will give them the things that they need and they want, ultimately in order to control them, ultimately in order to get my hooks into them. I mean, that is her scheme that she starts out with, which as a 16-year-old, you were often very tempted by.
Right. Yeah. And interestingly, in marketing, 16-year-old girls are like the number one marketing target. Almost everything in marketing and entertainment is aimed, like at 16-year-old girls. Yeah. Because you want to give them what they want, and and their social cachet is like insanely high, 16 to 18. The social cachet just drops off from there. Like 18, it continues. It's as high as it's ever going to be, and then it declines. And, a male's cachet is the opposite. It's like it's low. Like a 13 to 16-year-old male is like a non-entity. And for lots of good reasons. Then their social cachet slowly grows over time.
Which is interesting, because So this might be something of a stretch to connect these dots, but one thing that stood out to me is when she first becomes a human and how quickly, even just being thrust in that world, she's still young, she's still naive, she doesn't do anything to impress the prince. He just sees her, he's like, wow, you look like that girl. Next thing you know, she's in the castle, she's got the ball gown, she's got all this stuff. Like, it happens fast. It's not like she's got to struggle to earn her way there. She's just all of a sudden there, and then she's got to figure, which I do think that arc fits more for like the female journey, the social cachet. Like, all of a sudden you are given all this attention very early on, and then you got to figure out how to make good on it and what to do with it. Whereas like the arc for men is like, you struggle with it, you have no social cachet, you have to kind of build your way up to even get near the gates of the castle, whereas she's just in it, and now she's got to figure out, what do I do with all this opportunity.
Well, that's so interesting, because there are so many traditions of like the presentation of one's daughter to society, the cotillion or the ball, or there's like a rite of passage, because a male is trying to increase social cachet, and a woman is sort of presented with social cachet at that age. There are all these traditions that sort of have identified and then codified into your community, like that event. So you read Tolstoy or Jane Austen, and there's always like these adolescent girls that are getting to a certain point. They're like, okay, is this my time to be presented? And you sort of
think of quinceañera. Like, it's this is an event for
exactly. And I don't know if they do it anywhere but the South anymore, but like a cotillion is sort of like your sort of little coming out ball, where it's like, hey, here I show up in a gown, like, here I am, I'm a woman. And if you didn't know it before, you can't mistake it for anything else now. And partially, and I think the biological part of that is that, like, girls don't get a choice as to when they become women or not. They are informed by embodied reality. And then boys are like, maybe I'm one, I don't know. And then the government at 18 goes, well, you're enough of one to sign up for the draft. So hence the need for some kind of rite of passage tradition for men. Which is, again, culturally ubiquitous. Like, there aren't any cultures that have emerged anywhere on earth that don't have some kind of tradition where they go, okay, we're drawing a line in the sand so that because biology does not give you a firm line in the sand. You have to kind of figure it out.
Well, and even if that tradition, that rite of passage moment doesn't happen, I hear from women in my life all the time. It's like, when you hit a certain age, all of a sudden it's like you're getting attention for things that you weren't getting attention for, and people are noticing things. And what do I do with that? Is this good thing? Is this bad thing? Should I be seeking this out more? Should I be terrified of it? Like, there's
like 25-year-old guys never used to look at me before, and now they're looking at me.
A lot.
And your whole world changes. Like shifting from being a mermaid to being a human. And so a father is sitting there going, this is now happening outside of my control. And there's nothing I can do to hold it back. And this is now, my daughter is transforming into something I don't recognize. And so there's little Triton's arc there. And that's, the mermaid is like, I have to become a different organism. And my dad's got to reconcile himself to that. And so there's a world where Ariel and Triton have a good relationship, and they negotiate this transition without all this chaos. But there's going to be some kind of chaos.
That's not the archetypal story, though. Like, that's what that line you just said hit me. Like, my daughter's transforming into something I don't recognize. That's the story here. It's parents, when their daughters go through puberty and start shifting, and your relationship with them starts shifting. Like I said, it's certainly Triton's story, and it's Ariel's start of her adventure, which is very archetypal in that way.
And so in the Hans Christian Andersen version, there's physical pain associated with her transformation. And so it's like, hey, it's your menses. Like, there's physical pain associated with that, and you don't get a choice about it. And it is going to follow you your whole life. And so for all of that to be dialed into that original story. So anyway, so she gets legs, she becomes a woman, a human adult female, and she shows up on the shore, and she doesn't have a voice not because we're trying to take away her power, but because there are other ways to embody her relationship to Prince Eric beyond just telling it.
Well, and if I'm thinking about like what's a theme or what's a message that comes in that, needing to, like, she's got this talent, she's got this ability that sets her apart from everyone else. But part of maturing is you can't just rely on that talent for everything. Like, you have to develop yourself beyond that. And in a lot of ways, she kind of loses her identity in that, and then ultimately reintegrates it at the end and rediscovers that. But she has to mature beyond just like, what's the one natural talent, the natural God-given gift like you're good at. There's more she's got to discover there.
Yeah. So what do we see when she gets up there? One thing we see is that her character is evident in her company. So she goes to the surface world. She brings Flounder and Sebastian and what the seagull, I forget the seagull's name.
Yeah, I forget.
So she brings friends, which is part of the hero's journey, is when you build your friends and allies and enemies in the second act. In the second act. And so she wins over Sebastian, who is initially pissed off at her, and he's the chaperone that's supposed to be keeping her walking the straight and narrow. And he winds up kind of embodying the change for Triton in going from chaperone to friend. So her character, her kindness, the honesty of her pursuit, like, she really isn't just fixated. She really does. Like, maybe it starts as fixation, but she really does love this guy. And so this comes through in her action. We see that she's creative, she's funny, she's curious, she's adventurous. And then she doesn't have a voice, but all of her friends around her have a voice. So, all the creatures come up. And again, this is where we see that the feminine has this connection to nature that the masculine doesn't necessarily possess. So nature comes alongside her to sing for her. So they sing like the Kiss the Girl number where all of the creatures come out to advocate for their...
So one couple things on the Kiss the Girl number, because I love that tune. I think it's one of the underrated songs. I think that one gets lost in the midst of all the other good songs that are here, but I think that there's some special stuff that happens in that one. So Sebastian is two songs of that. One is Under the Sea, which is probably a Disney all-timer. But that one is, I'd say, along with Hakuna Matata, one of like great song. And the message is the opposite of what the story's trying to tell. It's stay here, right? And then the other song he does is Kiss the Girl, which is like, no, you're having the adventure. Go actually have it. The other thing I would say about the Kiss the Girl song is Disney... they've shied away from this, like, I don't know if it's like the feminine princess thing they shied away from, but just this like romantic mood setting thing that they do so well in that moment. There's something quintessential about this. They're in the thicket, the animals are singing to them, they're gonna have their first kiss. It's this special moment that plays out. That is, I think there's something beautiful about that kind of moment that, like, all of a sudden Disney would just shy away from, because they captured it so well. And they had I think of that. I think of like, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Like these people falling in love.
Yeah. Dude, Tarzan's got a great story where they come together. Yeah. And I think that there is something, and maybe this is cynical of me, I want to attribute it to some kind of agenda where they have very clearly eschewed romance from their adventure stories.
Right.
And almost as though it's mandate. And I'm not behind the scenes, and I don't know, but I would not be surprised if there's a mandate that says, like, our male and female heroes and heroines will no longer fall in love. They will be friends. And that's what we're doing. Other people, you can have other characters fall in love, but we're not going to have a heterosexual couple be a love story, because it just hasn't happened in so long. Maybe I'm wrong, I'm way off base, and I'm not thinking something obvious. But that's what I smell, and I would love to know that I'm wrong about that. But I also see
the quintessential way that they kind of captured it in this string of movies. It's like it's romance in this animated thing for kids to really like find the magic in this falling in love moment. You don't. Maybe you see it. You don't see it like that. because there's a magic to it they captured.
Right. And there's, baked into the hero's journey is a point in the journey at which characters of the opposite sex become attracted to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were writing a gay story, then it would be a character of the same sex attracted to you. But in the traditional one, it was it's a heterosexual male hero in the traditional hero's journey.
Well, and so as you start becoming competent and capable, yes, people start getting attracted to you.
People do start getting attracted to you.
That's how it works.
And then also there used to be an idea that part of the human adventure, like just human adventure, is you reach a certain age and you seek out romantic attachment and you pair and you mate. And the human adventure continues into adulthood, and that comes with
kids and family, and
kids and a family, and perpetuating the human race. And that was part of the adventure, and it has become perceived. I think it's become perceived as the non-adventure. Well, you could go do that, or you could go have an adventure and not do that.
Yeah,
that is actually the anathema to adventure, which is crazy. And I believed it. I was indoctrinated in that, I would say, until I had kids. And then I was like, oh, no, the adventure really kind of starts here.
Yeah.
Like everything was preamble to this. And the fire under my ass to go and succeed at that adventure.
Yeah.
The gas cranks way up because the stakes actually matter now.
Well, I think it's just stats show like married people make far more than non-married people, and some of that is by necessity because you're gonna grind, you're gonna figure out, because it's not just meeting your own needs and paying your own bills. You're bringing home the bacon for people that are more important than yourself.
Yeah, there's real stakes to it. It's not just like how many PlayStation games and avocado toasts can I buy. It's like no, we need like food. We need clothing and shelter.
Yeah.
And
diapers and all the kid stuff, and I want to provide for my kid to be able to do
and
all the sports and all the things that they want to do
already. You got to buy it all over again, and like and the thrill of getting to watch Little Mermaid with your kids for the first time. When my daughter, she doesn't speak super well, but she goes yo.
Yeah.
It's like, it's time to put on Ariel,
Yeah.
And so, and also the thing, Eric Weinstein was talking about this in an interview where he was saying like, hey, like, I get that we want to give help and succor and attention to people that are living alternative lifestyles or want something else out of life. But like, hey, our heterosexual men and women like need some help, need a little nod. Like men and women are not meeting and falling in love and dating and experiencing romance like they once did. And talking to any of my younger single friends, like it's clear there is no excitement for them to get out and meet women. It's horrific hellscape to them, and they don't want to endure it. Like, there's got to be another way to meet people. And when I was a kid, it was like, we're going to go out because there might be girls. And, like it was no brainer.
Yeah.
And then the idea that meeting someone that you are truly in love with, that you want to make that decision and that choice, and that you want to dive into that for this, like it is hands down the most exciting thing. That you'll do in your life.
Well, and that's what I think, like that moment in the kiss the girl, it's the magic of that moment. Like what bums me out about the thing you said of like people struggling with dating, it's like, oh gosh, you're missing that moment. Like you don't get that. That sucks.
Yeah, man.
Like,
there's that absolute sheer terror of being like 14 and asking if you can go like, ask a girl on a date is like
first kiss. And like,
oh my God.
And the adventure that can unfold around that, all the things that brings out in you and you bring out in the other person, and you're figuring this out together and you're working through your insecurities together. Like, I guess like that's not the adventure. We're just going to go pursue something else or career. And
we're not,
it's not denigrate. Yeah. I mean, it's not denigrating that stuff. That's fine. It's just such a lower goal.
Yeah.
From where I'm sitting, it's a bad deal.
Yeah.
You miss out.
Yeah. And it's the zero sum nature of the idea that like you cannot have this golden ring that you want if you settle for life's single greatest adventure, which is the thing that is necessary to have humans.
Again, I just take like all the people I've heard who like criticize this movie about the giving up the voice and all that. It's all people who are later in life or looking back and they just have this cynical take on it. And it's like, we just did Hook. You've lost sight of the magic of that youthful moment of recklessly going out as a teenager and falling in love. And because that's the other thing about like Ariel, like she's adventurous. She's an adventurous character. She's an ambitious character. And the idea she's giving up, she's lowering herself for this, which is like, in my view, it's the opposite of what she actually does. I think that's way off. As the movie wraps up, there is this thing, and I haven't quite put my finger on it yet, when Ursula transforms herself into the woman who then puts Prince Eric in a trance and uses Ariel's voice to do so. What do you make of that? Symbolically, how does that square?
Well, it's in a little bit, it's some of like what Frodo says about Aragorn, that if he was evil, he would seem fairer and be fouler, right? And so it's the imitation of the good.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit of that to it.
I think there's something about like your enemies use your strengths against you. She's taken her voice and now she's using it to like manipulate even though it's not really her voice.
Well, and it's like you don't get to win if you make a deal with the devil. The devil's always way ahead of you because she didn't know giving up her voice meant actually letting Ursula have it and use it.
And you know, as I think about it, like the story doesn't really work if it's just, she goes up, she doesn't have her voice, but she has this romantic jaunt and then they live happily ever after. Like, no, there's a price to pay. You still made the deal. And again, it's not that like, okay, she was wrong for making the deal. It's just like, you have a debt you need to clear. You have some hardship and some issues you need to resolve before this story winds up and comes together at the end.
Yeah. And it's the cost of grasping for that thing that'll come in time.
Yeah.
Like, C.S. Lewis talks about this idea that it's like Adam and Eve, they want the knowledge of good and evil. And so they take the fruit.
Yeah.
And he has this idea that like, had they just waited and maybe it would have been days, maybe it would have been millennia, sooner or later, God would have gone, okay, have a bite.
Ready. Yeah.
Like you're ready. And now it is time. We've come into the fullness of your maturity where you can take that and earn it. And I remember my first like narcotic experience, realizing like, oh, I just did that. I just shortcutted. Like I can have euphoric experiences just organically from joy or like an overflowing emotion or like an amazing event. Yeah. Like I can experience everything that a narcotic gives me in due time in its right place. But I just ate the apple and said, I would like the experience now in the way that I want it. And then Ariel does the same thing. And so the consequence of that is that you have left your strength in the hands of your enemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she used it against her. And
yeah. There's a lot there. I don't know if I've quite fully unpacked
so
that.
There is a lot there. So then the road back from that.
Yeah.
So she experiences the curse. She gets her legs, her fins back. She can no longer be a surface dweller.
Yeah.
Eric sees her for what she really is.
Yeah.
He also doesn't seem to care when he realizes he also sees what Ursula really is.
Right.
That curse is broken by truth.
Yeah.
So when the veil is torn away and we see who they really are, Prince Eric has enough character to recognize and accept the truth. And Triton has to die. Right.
He's got to sacrifice himself.
Her little farm of polyps is perdition, right? So he dies and goes to hell. He creates this like Christ-like self-sacrifice to rescue his bride, like his daughter, which is daughter of God, kind of the bride in this context. And so and then she also has to make a self-sacrifice. Like she casts herself at the bottom of that pit in an attempt to rescue Eric.
Yeah.
Right? I forget, how does she wind up at the bottom of that pit?
Get someone.
I'm trying to remember the exact circumstances.
What I know happens is Ursula takes Triton's crown, and then she takes over as evil Sea Queen.
Right.
Grows into the giant version of herself. And so getting to villain comeuppance, what's interesting is, do you remember how she's defeated?
Yeah, it's fantastic. So
Eric has to sail the ship into her, like stabbing her essentially, and taking her down. So there's something about the masculine still has to come in, not to rescue you, but like it's that piece is needed in order to undo all the change she was.
Yeah, she under. Like grabs the trident so that she can't kill.
Yeah,
like Ariel grabs it and then gets cast down there in the pit.
Yeah.
And then sooner or later there's like it's this integration. Like there is a part that the feminine plays and there's a part that the masculine plays. And the part the masculine plays in this case happens to be driving.
Yeah.
Just kidding. That one's for the internet. Physical violence.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, once it's time to pound a wooden stake through the monster's heart, you want someone with some upper body strength. So he comes and he drives the stake through the heart of the giant monster. But then Ursula, if she is the satanic figure, she casts, God out of his throne. She usurps it and she gets to be in charge for a minute, which I imagine is sort of how it probably felt for Lucifer when, you get Christ in the tomb for 3 days. And here we are, we're coming up on Easter when we record this. And so this is timely, where it's like, hey, I won. I'm on top. I just cast down the king.
Yep.
And now I've got him and I get the whole world, everything I wanted.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oops.
Yep. Yeah. And then they have their wedding at the end and happily ever after.
And what we learn is that Triton could have made her a woman the whole time. He could have released her into her womanhood.
Is that in the Disney movie?
Yeah. So because they're on this ship and all that stuff, and Ariel's like, I'm going to have to say goodbye. And then Triton realizes, with Sebastian pointing the way, like she really does love him. This is really pure and beautiful. And like, you really should let this happen. And so he uses a spell. He uses the trident.
He makes it. He
she gets that like gown, that shimmery, like 90s Celine Dion gown. It gets legs. And he could have released her the whole time. And so really like a lot of this movie is her learning her lesson through trying circumstances. But a lot of it is really, it's needed to educate dad on how to let go of his daughter.
So if you're listening to this and you go back and you rewatch it, this movie's going to hit different if you're a girl dad, and coming up on how to take care of your girls when they get to that age. The Triton's story arc is very much a key part of this.
In a lot of ways he suffers and goes through more than his daughter, which if humanity is the bride and the daughter
is Ariel,
of God and the bride of Christ, our father and groom did go through more than we went through. Even though we are the most transformed. They went through the most pain. So well, and that feels to me like a much deeper analysis of this story than you have to give up your voice and be subjugated to a man.
Oh, certainly. Like that's. I mean, it misses half the thing. It's just like a couple facts. Most people I know that have said that, it's like, you've not watched the movie in like decades, have you?
Or you're not a very happy person.
But So we'll ask our kids like, all right, is this a movie like they love? I talked to so many people. Maybe it's from this is 89. This movie I would have been 2 when it came out. So like this movie was really gaining its popularity as like for like me and friends around like my generation. You're 4, 5, and 6 when you're seeing this. But I heard so many people that was like, this is my favorite movie. It was the one I wanted to watch on repeat. It's like my kids would watch Moana all the time on repeat, or Big R6 or one of these. Like like this would be on repeat all the time. There's so many like deep archetypal stuff. I find people like they love the Little Mermaid story. It's a very likable one that people feel a strong attachment to.
Yeah. Yeah. My son is doing the thing where he's like, I don't want to watch a princess movie because he's like in that place. But then as soon as you put it on, he's locked in. And he sings the songs. When Freya's listening to the songs, he sings all the songs. Like, yeah. You know why? Because it's really good.
Yeah, because it's good quality. I mean, I'll say it's when Alan Menken was doing all the Disney stuff, like it's one of the best soundtracks for all the Disney ones, and you hear it everywhere still. And it's still like, if I think of like top 5 iconic like Disney tunes, like there's 1 or 2 that come from Little Mermaid.
Yeah, when you hear that opening riff, I mean, exactly like the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, this is a fun one. Let us know what you guys think. We'd love to hear your takes. Also recognize, as my wife put me in my place when we did Frozen, we're 2 dudes giving our take on a princess movie. So let us know where our blind spots are and what other better points we might be missing here. We love that. That led to a bunch of fun conversations then. So we hope to do more.
That's right. Hit us. All right.
Cool.
See you on the next one.